Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The title of this video is The Illusion of Partnership When Someone Keeps You Close but Powerless. My name is Shantae. I am the founder of Creatives Unboxed, where our mission is to help creatives win where others quit. Now, let me tell you, here on this channel, I am going to give you the game. I don't know if I should say I've been fortunate, but I've been fortunate to go through so many experiences, and my experiences are unique because I had no one taught me the game. I didn't have parents who really taught me about the world. So I had to really learn some hard lessons, and I really went into the art of studying people and studying situations and how people move and the tactics that they use on you. And one thing I noticed is a lot that I dealt with was the illusion of partnership. And before I get into that, let me just say that if you're watching this video and you clicked on this video, it resonated, the title resonated with you, or you're curious, I want to let you know that you are valuable. Your gifts, your talents are worthy to be used. You are amazing. If no one has told you, you are smart, you are brilliant, and your time is important, and your time should be valued. You are valuable. What you bring to the table is valuable, and you should never diminish yourself. You should have confidence. Don't let anyone try to brainwash you into thinking, oh, just be humble. When people try to tell you to be humble, it's because they don't want your light to shine. So because your light is shining so bright, they throw that, oh, you're not humble. Right, because they want you to kind of back away and be like, oh, well, let me not shine so bright because then I'm not humble, let me just be quiet. They want to say be humble to quiet you, but that's not what we're doing over here. Let your light shine, be great. Why not? This is your journey. And what I want to teach you is the game. And you would think that we wouldn't have to play these games, but you have to be aware of these games because these are the games that people play. You would think that we should live in a world, you would think that the ideal world would be where we just enjoy what was given to us freely. We shouldn't, we shouldn't have to work for food. We shouldn't have to work for a lot of the things we work for. It was given to us freely. But now, that's the ideal world, but that's not how we work. And so people, they want to position themselves and they want resources and they want power. And it's just really a power dynamic when we deal with other people. So if you understand the tactics and games that people play, you will know how to move, and you will know how to, for one, protect yourself, protect your time, know your worth. If anything, out of this video, what you should walk away with is knowing your worth, knowing what your worth and what you carry. Even if you have to walk alone for a little bit, if you have to do business on your own, if you have to build the vision on your own for a little bit, be okay with that, and know your worth and know your value and know who you are. And once you get that revelation about yourself, I'm telling you, you're going to move through life in such a strategic way. And it takes a lot of stress off of you when you really hone into who you are and you're not comparing yourself to other people. You really understand your own timeline, and your goal is to get as sharp, as better as you can, as improve upon yourself as much as you can every day. And when you focus on your own race, I'm telling you, life, it becomes so much enjoyable. It really does. It really becomes more enjoyable no matter what's going on in the world. And yes, we're going to have some good days, some bad days, but overall, when you understand the end objective, it's like your life opens up and you become more productive. You want to take care of yourself more. I'm telling you, everything really has an impact on everything. Everything you do has an impact on everything you do. How you do one thing, it really translates to other areas. So when we talk about the illusion of partnerships, if you're a creative, or you work in groups, or you work in organizations, we have to, or we don't have to, but more than likely we work with other people on projects. We're grouped with some kind of group based on our proximity. It could be an organization, it could be a church, it could be school, it could be kind of voluntary proximity or involuntary proximity, like school. You have to be around people. You can't choose who you're around at school because everybody goes to the school, right? Versus if you have like a partnership, or you're in a band, you're in some kind of sports group. There's some kind of way you're in proximity to people and you have to deal with people. And typically there's like a leader of the group, or there's like someone who kind of drives the group forward, or they're like the main person of the group, the manager. They kind of have the overall authority over the group. But here is where it gets interesting. So let me just ask a question. Have you ever felt, or have you ever been in a situation where you felt included, but somehow your influence never actually made it into the outcome? It's like you feel like, oh yeah, I feel included. Like they listen to me, I'm able to talk, but it's like your ideas just never translate, or someone else takes your idea and makes it their own, but your influence just never pierces through. Right? It was like you were in the room, you gave ideas, you invested time, you felt involved. But when it came time to execute, nothing you said changed anything. Have you ever felt that way? And let me tell you, if you have, you are not tripping, you are not crazy, because this is a tactic that people use that it goes over many people's heads and they don't catch it. But I'm telling you now, when you listen to this video, you're going to spot this behavior easily. And this is what I call the illusion of partnership. This is what I call the illusion of partnership. It's when someone keeps you close enough to feel like you're included, but never empowered enough to have real influence. Let me introduce this concept again. So this is what I call the illusion of partnership. When someone keeps you close enough to feel included, but never empowered enough to have real influence, right? So in this video, I really want we're going to talk about some different perspectives of this. So we're going to talk about inclusion versus authority. We're going to talk about collaboration versus control, and we're going to talk about proximity versus power. So let me talk about this, the difference between being included and being empowered. So when you're included, when you're inclusive, you're invited into the discussion, right? They let you talk. Your presence is welcomed. You're emotionally engaged. You feel like you're vested in it. You really, especially as a creative, we always try to have an end goal. We always have a vision. We want to see things better. We want to see things prosper. We have this idea in our heads of how great a partnership can be and what we can do if we work together. Like, especially me as a creative, I'm always thinking like, man, we have manpower. Like, we have manpower. If we just work together, we can make this thing bigger. We can work together to make more money, to have more impact, to have more visibility. If we just work together, that's how I'm thinking in my mind, right? And then that's being included. That's inclusion. But when we look at empowerment, we're talking about your ideas alter incomes, right? What empowerment is where your voice actually carries weight. Right? Empowerment is where your decisions reflect your contribution. Right? And then empowerment is there is shared influence. Right? So you see the difference? Inclusion is you're able to talk, your presence is welcomed, you're emotionally engaged, but empowerment is where you see the difference. Your ideas actually are visibly seen in the outcome. So if your input never changes the result, you're not a partner, you're a participant. If your input never changes the result, you're not a partner, you're a participant. Think about that. Let me give you examples. And it's so crazy because this has happened a few times, and each time it happened, I was able to catch it immediately. And it's crazy because you would think like the people you're around, they love you, they care or somewhat care about you, and that you want to think that everyone is just so good. And no, nobody would ever do that. We try to give people the benefit of the doubt. And now that I think about it, I think my next video, I'm going to talk about trusting your intuition. But this video, I'm telling you, this probably happened to you more than you recognize or you realize. But as you get to hear my stories, start looking back on your life and your partnerships and situations you've been on, and I bet you can spot this. So let me give you an example. So I was in a rock band, right? And the band, so the band leader actually found me on Facebook because I had posted my own music, and I'm a musician as well. I play piano, and so the band member, he was looking for a keyboardist and another artist to add to the band, and I decided to do it at the time. It was crazy how that opportunity came in my life because I was thinking about quitting music. I had went through this big thing where I left the church, and that's where I did the bulk of my piano playing. And so when I left the church, I was just really confused on what I wanted to do with music. I lost kind of the desire to play, and then this band opportunity came. So I was like, I'm actually grateful for this opportunity because it's keeping me involved in music. So I joined the band. It was a rock band, and it was different because normally I do gospel R&B, but doing a rock band was different, right? So fast forward, the leader of the band, so it was me. I was on keys. We had a drummer, and we had a bass player, and a guitarist. And so fast forward, I had ideas, like I wanted to write songs because I'm a songwriter. I wanted to help write songs for the band. I wanted to help with the arrangements of the song. And when I say arrangements, it's like how the song sounds, like what kind of piano chords or what kind of music we put to the words. And that's what I mean. So I noticed, so I would meet with the band leader, right? And I would come over his house. And mind you, he was married, he had a family, so it wasn't nothing on like a romantic thing. I would come over his house, and he already had songs written, and I was trying to help him refresh the arrangement. And as we were working, he let me know that he would be the only one to write the lyrics for the songs of the band or whatever. So he wanted control, and he wanted to write the lyrics of the song, which, I'm just like, fine, whatever. But when it came to the arrangements of the song, I remember I would come over his house and I would like try to help him revamp the arrangements. So I spent hours. We literally went over the chords, and I'd be like, okay, let's change this here, let's do this here. And we were learning the songs because we were going to give the music to the other band members so that we can upgrade the song. And so I'm giving him my best work. I'm like, we can do chords here, let's transition here. And he was just like, yeah, this is great, this is great. We do all that. Mind you, fast forward, we get to band rehearsal, and then the other instruments were asking, what the chords were. Why did he totally ignored all the work that we did and just gave them the original chords that he wrote to the song. And that pissed me off because I was like, that was a waste of my time. We spent all that time revamping the song for you just to give them the original song that you did. I could have been doing something different with my time. And the more I stayed in the band, the more I saw is that I think he was a little intimidated by me. I don't want to say I was better musically, but I understood music a little bit more, and I had a more diverse background. Like I had a jazz background, I had a gospel background, I had an R&B background. And I think they were a little intimidated by how developed my ear was for music. So I noticed when I would have ideas, they would make it seem like I was heard, but my ideas were never implemented. And I could tell my nervous system and my intuition was picking it up because I started to get frustrated. And I was like, this doesn't even sound good. And they can't hear that this doesn't sound good. And so what I took from that situation is that leaders, they want your creativity, but at a certain point, right? And let me just say too, I'm a Black girl, and the band was Hispanic and white. So having a Black girl in your band, it kind of ups the aesthetic of your band. So I do understand that I was kind of the eye candy of the band and the cute girl on keys. So I understood that, of course, you have to make it seem like I'm a part because you need me to be there for my aesthetic. And I noticed too that the band leader feared shared authorship. Like he wanted to be in control. Like he said, I write all the songs. Right. And it was like the leader wanted my validation. Like he liked when I hyped him up and told him how good he was, but he didn't want to share control. which I don't even have an issue with that. It's not even about, oh, I need to be the leader, but don't gaslight me in thinking that you're going to go forward with my ideas only to keep it private. Right? In private, you're like, yeah, this is a good idea. This is a good idea. But when it's time to execute, all of a sudden, all the work we did in private is forgotten. And you just put what you originally wanted. Right? But it was to make me feel like I was included, but I was not. And it's a game. You have to catch it. It's so slick. So they collaborate with you in private so you feel valued, but they retain authorship publicly so they stay dominant. It's really a game of power and dominance. And let me tell you, it was because of that reason I left the group, because I saw where it was going, and I told the band members, I was like, we have to think bigger. Like, I didn't want to just do local shows. I was like, let's think about how we can become worldwide. And I asked the band leader what was the vision for the group. And I think that pissed him off because I asked him in front of everybody. And he was like, oh, just to do a few shows in here and there. And I'm thinking globally. And I just realized that this band would hold me back. Right. And I left, and I was proud of myself because I caught this earlier than I normally would have caught it, because even before then I knew what to look for, and I was able to get out earlier. And I was like, you know what, even if it takes me longer, I'm going to work on music myself and figure it out myself. And I would rather I hold myself back than have somebody else hold me back, right? But I'm not holding myself back. But I'm just telling you, it's like those little things, they make it seem like you have a voice, but you really don't. It's really they make you seem like you have a voice to shut you up. I know that sounds weird. They let you talk to shut you up, right? In private. Like, oh, okay, yeah, we hear you. But then when it comes to execute, and when it comes to the public, and when it comes to stepping outside of the room, everything you discussed, everything you built stays private. And this is not about bitterness or anything like that. This is just about clarity. And and here's another trap you have to look for. And I call this the emotional alignment trap. This is another trap. This is the emotional alignment trap. The trap I talked about before, I don't know if I named it, but that's called the private collaboration, the public control dynamic. So what I mentioned earlier about the public versus private, that was called the private collaboration, public control dynamic. This next trap is called the emotional alignment trap. So let me tell you. So here's how it works. People will mirror your struggle to build emotional closeness. They will mirror your struggle to build emotional closeness, right? And then it's like they believe if they share struggle with you, it equals some kind of bonding, but the bonding isn't the same as structural equality, right? It's like they try to say, oh, we're in this together, right? But structurally, you're really doing more of the work. You're investing more, you're carrying the load more, and you're contributing more, right? And let me tell you, so I had a business partner. I was helping him. I decided to help him grow his business, and I was working a job at the time, and he was driving Uber. And the plan was like we were going to help build his business so much where we could both come off of our jobs and just do that full time. And so I remember a conversation where he was like, "Man, I don't want to drive Uber no more. I don't want to drive Uber no more." And I was saying like, "Yeah, I don't want to work where I want to work anymore." And he painted a picture like we were just in the struggle together, and that he was creating this emotional bond. But what it is, it's a psychological trap to get you to do more work. It's getting you to be more emotionally invested so they can get you to do more work to build their business. And when they get their business or whatever their plan is where they want it to be, they cut you off. And then the drama starts, they start treating you bad, they start not appreciating you. And how I caught this is I remember like a few weeks later, I was like, "Hey, are you still driving for Uber? How is that going?" And he was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm just living off of my savings." So all of a sudden his story flipped, and he went to, "Oh, I'm living off my savings," which I knew that was BS. So I can tell when someone's kind of lying to me and just kind of throwing me off. And I was like, "Oh, so he wasn't even driving Uber at the time he said he was driving Uber. He was just trying to share a struggle, make it seem like he's sharing in the struggle with me, but it was a lie. I mean, really, it was just an emotional alignment trap to make it seem like, oh, we're in the struggle together. Yeah, I don't like, yeah, we're going to come out of this. But at the end of the day, it was me really doing a lot of the work. Like, I was the one showing up on time. I was the one pushing him to, like, let's move. It felt like it was my business, right? So here's the key concept in this. Emotional closeness can be used to mask unequal contribution. Let me say that again. Emotional closeness can be used to mask unequal contribution, right? Sometimes you're emotionally partnered but structurally alone. Sometimes you're emotionally partnered but structurally alone. And this is how they do it. And here was another thing he would do, the business partner. He would promise me things in the future to keep me engaged with what he had going, because he knew he this is how they work, because they know eventually you'll probably catch on because you're smart. So they'll promise you something in the future, like, oh, like, I'm gonna get you this, we're gonna do this. Oh, I have this business deal coming, like, oh, I talked to so and so and he was talking about partnering to build the business. Like, they give some kind of future promise or some kind of future indicator to keep you vested, because they want to use your labor, they want to use your brilliance, they want to use your energy to keep this thing going. So I hope this makes sense. It's very covert. Like, you have to be so sharp to catch this. And like I said in the beginning, it's so important that you do, because your time is valuable. And one thing that snapped me out of this situation, I was like bragging about the business to somebody, and I showed them the website and everything, and the person was like, this is great, but where's your name? And I was like, what? They was like, this is great, but where's your name? And I thought about it. I was like, wow, I'm building someone else's name. Which, my thing is, I've always I never really tripped about that, because I know that sometimes not everyone can be the leader. Not everyone could be the head of everything. And I was the one that was thinking, like, I'm okay with working with someone as long as, like, it's fair, like they're compensating me fairly, like it's they're not playing games with me. Just like how they built Facebook, right? You just never know what idea can really take off and blow up. And they had a leader, I'm sorry, his name escapes me, but the leader of Facebook, they developed Facebook, I believe, in their college dorm room, and he had actually asked people to be a part of it, and they didn't believe in it. And Facebook is valued over $1 billion, right? So I do believe in partnership, and I believe it can be a beautiful thing, but these are the dynamics you have to watch out for, because I really believe if we really would have worked together, we could have got this product in major stores, and I knew how to do that. And but this person, I caught on to them, and they didn't get to reap the benefit of me doing that. And then when the person I shared the business with was like, where's your name? I was like, dang, you're right. Like, I could really do this on my own without this drama and without this emotional alignment trap that's being set on me. So you have to be sharp, and you have to see it. So why do people do this? You would think, like, why can't we just work together, get our bag, change our lives, and, you know, live the life that we want? So people do this because they fear losing control. I don't know where this stems from, if it's a childhood trauma thing or whatever, but people like to be in control. They don't want to lose control, especially if they're the leader. And like I said, you're not supposed to I don't believe in, like, challenging people's authority, when I can just simply leave and do my own thing. Like, if I don't like what you're doing, I can leave. But a lot of people fear losing control, and sometimes people feel threatened by your competence. And it's not even like you're trying to, like, outsmart them or think you're smarter than them, but they're just intimidated because they see how bright you are. And sometimes they're thinking, like, dang, why is she even dealing with me, because she could really do this on her own. So they feel threatened by your competence. And a lot of times people, they create the illusion of partnership because they want your ideas but not your authority. Like, they know you have great ideas, so they want to get in proximity to you to get your ideas, and then they kind of water your ideas down and make it seem like it's their own idea. And sometimes you know about it, sometimes you don't. Right? Have you ever been in a situation where someone just straight used your idea and didn't credit you or anything? Right? And so another reason they create the illusion of partnership is because they need your energy to advance their mission. They really need your energy to advance their mission. Like I said with the band, I was a black girl, I had the aesthetic, I looked cool on the keyboard, and it was a great look for the band, right? So they really needed my image, but they didn't need my input. They didn't want to use my input. They just wanted to use me for my image. So they use the illusion of partnership because they want to appear like they're collaborative without surrendering dominance. So of course, if they're like, no, shut up, like your ideas are stupid, don't say nothing, you're not going to stay around. So they have to appear collaborative so you stay around and they can get what they want out of you without surrendering their dominance. So they have to make you seem, especially if you're a go-getter and your personality might be like, you might be a strong leader, right? So they have to make it seem like you have a voice, but they have to do it in a way where they maintain dominance. And it's a crazy game, right? And when you see these things, you have to decide, is it worth staying in this dynamic? If I were you, I would leave because it doesn't end well. Unless you're getting something out of it that you can take with you, it just does not end well. You feel drained because you feel frustrated because you really have a vision, and when you know that your efforts are just really being thrown at the wall, it's just really draining when you, and then you know what you can do and you know your potential and you know what you bring to the table. It just gets frustrating, and it's just best to make your exit and don't feel bad, right? Because some people want your brilliance, they just don't want your power. Some people want your brilliance, they just don't want your power. So how do you recognize the pattern? That's basically what we talk about here, is pattern recognition and signs that you're in the illusion of partnership. Okay, so decisions are already made before discussions happen. They already made decisions before you say anything. And if you do say anything, you're wasting your time because the decision is already made, right? Another sign of illusion of partnerships is that you have ideas, but they never survive the room. You have ideas, but they never survive the room. Man, if I had $1 for every time I was in a room and I gave an idea and they thought I was crazy, they thought I was going against authority, they thought I was being rebellious, only to turn out that I was right. Oh my gosh. Like, it's so many egos. It's like your idea is good, but they hate that it's coming from you because they don't like you. They hate that it's coming from you and they don't like you. And then it always pissed me off when weeks later, months later, I'm like, why didn't y'all just at least consider? Because now this is the result when we could have avoided all this, especially people who try to over spiritualize things. And it's like, it's not that deep. It's not that deep. And then they let their so-called spiritual ego get in the way, and your changes just never survive the room, right? And then here's another sign you're in an illusion of partnership. Credit funnels upward. You're never credited for anything. It always comes, everyone at the top is credited, but you contribute just as much, if not more, but you're never credited. And you deserve credit. I do not care about, cut the humble stuff. Like, oh, I just want to see the work done. No, you should be credited for the work that you've done. It was your idea. It was your energy. It was your messaging. It was your creativity. You should be credited. Forget all that humble stuff, because that's how people take advantage of you. Know your worth. Another sign you're in the illusion of partnership is you're asked for input, but not consent. You're asked for input, not consent. They always want to know, oh, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? They always ask what you think, and then you never really get a follow-up, and then you all of a sudden you see your ideas implemented. Has that ever happened to you? They ask you, oh, what do you think? All of a sudden, and then this happened to me so many times. I have to do a lot more videos talking about this. They ask for my input casually, and I tell them. All of a sudden, it's being implemented, and then they're being praised for my idea, and then it's not even implemented the way I told them to implement it, and they're being celebrated, and they're feeling themselves over that, and they didn't even implement it correctly. Come on. Another sign you're in the illusion of partnership is your role expands in labor, but not in authority. In authority, your role expands in labor, but not in authority. You notice that you're carrying more of the load. Like, as the project goes on, or whatever organization you're in, it's like you're overextending yourself, and they're just kind of sitting back because they know that their decision is going to be what it is. So they're not going to put as much effort in, but your role expands in labor, but not in authority. So that's another illusion of partnership. Another one is that you feel productive, but you're not impactful. It's like you're doing all this work, but you're wondering why nothing is really moving. It's just this illusion of motion. You know what I mean? It's like, it's it's like, you know what I think about? I think about how people, they can post on social media, and it makes it look like their life is just so great, and they have all this motion, all these opportunities. But then when you see them in person, you realize it's all a lie. It's fake motion, right? It looks productive, but there really is no impact. It's just really fluff. It's just really static. It's just really noise, but it's not really piercing through or doing anything. So it's like you feel productive, but it's like there's no impact, right? So it feels, if collaboration feels real, but the results stay unchanged, that's information. If collaboration feels real, but results stay unchanged, that's information. And I want to encourage you to watch for patterns, not promises. Watch for patterns, not promises. The patterns don't lie. The patterns are information. Watch for the patterns. And if you're in an organization, if you're in this dynamic, you need to clarify the roles early. And you need to ask direct questions. Will this decision be shared? Who has the final say? And you want to protect your labor if power isn't shared. Protect your labor if power isn't shared. Your time is valuable. You can be building your own thing, right? Or you can be building with someone else who will value your labor, right? So you really have to think about, what do you want your end goal to be? And don't overinvest where you're structurally capped. Do not overinvest where you're structurally capped. This is the tactic they use. They make it seem like you are included, but you're not. You're just being used for your energy and your presence and your work. But you are structurally capped, and it's so subtle. So you can't co-build with someone who only sees you as supportive infrastructure. You cannot build or co-build with someone who only sees you as supportive infrastructure. Inclusion without influence isn't partnership, it's proximity management. Inclusion without influence isn't partnership, it's proximity management. Okay, that's my TED Talk for today. I hope this makes sense. I really do hope this makes sense. Please, in the comments, if you get it, let me know. Give me some feedback. Has this ever happened to you? And listen to this video over and over again until you get the concepts. And I guarantee you this has happened in your life. If it hasn't, keep living. All right, talk to you later.